Saints extended their unbeaten run in the Championship to 11 games with a 2-0 win over Cardiff at St Mary's. Glenn, we said it was all about starting well, and to me, it felt like the perfect start. We were 2-0 up after 15 minutes and cruising to a certain extent.
Yeah, it was a great start. We clearly meant business from the first whistle. I think they'd probably, after the Huddersfield game, been a bit of chat about complacency and trying to avoid it and making sure that we started this game strong, particularly as we didn't start the Bristol game particularly strong. So yeah, 2-0 up in, what was it, 15 minutes? Two really good goals. The first one in particular, I think the club have already highlighted on social media that it starts off with the goalkeeper, goes all the way down the left-hand side, and some nice snappy passing on the edge of the box, and then and it's a brilliant finish. Left foot from a right-footed player and curls it into the top corner. It reminds me very much of a goal that Che Adams scored at Watford last season, where there was just no backlift. It was the opposite, right foot into the other corner. But it was a brilliant start, brilliant goal. And with us this season, you're always a bit worried about how the sort of like next 10 minutes after a goal is, how that's going to play out. And we kept the foot on the throat and went forward and scored a second goal. So at that time we were 2-0 up, and the Cardiff trains home got cancelled. So they must have been thinking, we're having a great day here. We're going to get beat 7-0. And
I was joking when I said that was the biggest cheer of the afternoon, but it was certainly up there, wasn't it?
It was up there. It was up there, wasn't it? End of the first half, we did kind of let Cardiff have a couple of moments, which Russell Martin alluded to in his interview after the game. So there was the one where Bazunu had to come out and head it, and the subsequent shot from that. And they had one chance where a guy stuck it over the bar from sort of pretty close to the goal. But half time we
appear to have lost Glen.
I was just starting to wonder whether that was me or Glenn. Do you remember when this happened to you last week, Alfie? He could still hear what you were saying, and we were all sort of laying into you. So
best be kind about him, yeah.
We'll be nice and kind about him. Alfie, I'll come to you next. We talked about last week the problem with 1-0, but there was definitely that sort of purpose and style afterwards, which suggested they were determined to get that second goal. They weren't going to let that happen again this week.
Yeah, and I think, to be fair, we'd have to be honest and say that Cardiff are probably the poorest side I've seen at St Mary's this season. I just didn't think they really offered anything. Glenn did actually mention just a moment ago, but they had a couple of moments. I think Carlan Grant missed a really big chance at the end of the first half, which could have made it 2-1. But Adam Armstrong just seems to be, when he gets near the box or in the box, just seems to be a yard quicker than every other defender. And that's exactly what it is this time, isn't it? It comes down from the left, and I think it's Stu that puts it back in, and there's a bit of a melee, and he's quickest to it and heads the ball into an empty net. I think that's like 12 for him this season. It's absolutely ridiculous, isn't it? I think we all backed him to be a good level championship player because we know he is. But I think he's scoring at a rate that's well surpassed what we probably all thought. And I was speaking to Franny Benali in the week for the column, and he was saying that he felt that a 3-0, 4-0 was coming eventually. And I probably didn't expect it this weekend, so I think I expected Cardiff to be set up quite strong, resolute. But it could have easily been 3 or 4. Adam Armstrong could have had a hat-trick. I think he hit the keeper with one big chance towards the end of the game as well. But I think most importantly, it was probably a really important week for Russell Martin, because I think speaking to him this week, and I didn't speak to him yesterday because I was in the stands, I wasn't in the press box. I was watching with my dead pint of Kingfisher. But it was an important week for him because he looked knackered, to be truth be told. I think it took the toll on him this week. I think he was, he obviously had the sort of discussion with Adam on the radio during the week, and we then spoke about it on Friday. And he was really honest about the fact, he's well compensated for his work, so we don't need to feel sorry for him, but he's tired, he has to make sacrifices, stuff like that. So it was just nice for him, I think, just get the double clean sheet, get a 7-point week again, and we can just start to look forward again with a few days rest.
Yeah, another 7-point week as well. We'll get onto that in a bit. Fraser, welcome back to the podcast. Going to get your thoughts on the game at the weekend. Were you surprised by Cardiff? I mean, they could barely keep hold of the ball for the first 20 minutes. I thought it was going to be a tougher game, certainly for that first half hour.
Yeah. Thanks for having me back. I definitely agree, and I could sort of echo what Alfie says there. I thought out of Cardiff and Bristol City, I thought Cardiff would potentially be the stickier of the two games, and it didn't prove to be that way at all. They were just sort of everything I expected of them, like people referring to being resolute, hard to beat, sort of physical, They didn't really seem to have any of that. And I think we were just we started fast and we were out the blocks quick. And I mean, once we got that second goal pretty quick, soon after, I think it was 4 minutes between the goals. I think it was a perfect display of how much control you can have from playing this style of football. I mean, Cardiff were very poor, but we didn't let them gain any momentum other than that little spell before half time, like the guys have sort of referred to. Second half was just complete vindication of Martin's style of football. I think it's just Bristol City game was slightly different, but this game where we had that second goal, it's just all too often is elusive for us. I think once we got that second, it was just complete control and very comfortable afternoon's work. I liked how we set up. I mean, I still have concerns about being out of without Sulemana for this period, because I think it does very much limit our options. I mean, Martin said after the Bristol game, he sort of stumbled across this shape that worked, and I think Alfie referred to it earlier in the season about how Martin often reverts to a diamond, and that's sort of what it is with Alcaraz sort of dropping in off the front and Armstrong and Adam Armstrong and Che Adams playing a little bit wider. That's not going to work against everyone every week, and that's the worry. Is I think we lack a bit of flexibility now because Ryan Fraser's not been having as big an impact from the start of games, and the other options are, I guess, Dozy playing wide, and he's dropped down the pecking order a bit, not played a great deal of football for us lately. So I think yesterday it was perfect, and it gave us so much control in the middle of the pitch. I thought there were some excellent performances in possession, but I think moving forward, I think it's going to be interesting to see how we adapt with Sulemana out, because he's certainly our biggest threat in behind, and he opens up a lot of space for a lot of players because players often double up on him, teams often double up on him. So, but yeah, in terms of yesterday, I think almost complete control other than that spell before half time where we just sort of slowed the game down a little bit too much. And but other than that, complete control, really positive performance, I thought.
There were a couple of players, Fraser, that I know kind of stood out for you, but I think, was it Ryan Manning that you were particularly impressed with this week? He seemed to have a really good week, and he got a lot of stick taking those corners in front of the Cardiff fans. But he had a good game yesterday.
Yeah, I think him, Downs and Martin enjoyed that one yesterday, didn't they? Yeah, I think he's a player that I'll be honest, I think he like everyone, I think he offers a lot in possession and he's very suited to the style of football. I do have big question marks over him defensively, but yesterday he was pretty good defensively, to be honest. I think he made the most tackles, won the most duels of any Saints player. I think he had 4 or 5 interceptions as well. He was very good, and I think he had 113 touches, which for a left back is quite ridiculous, really, especially in the Championship. But I think, I thought he was really good yesterday and really sort of positive performance. And I think it gives Martin a really nice, not even a problem to have over this period, because we're going to need Bree and Manning to play their part. And I think they both offer very, very different things, but both have shown that they can step in. I think it's good as well, because I think Martin's shown this season that if you come in and you play well, you keep your place, generally speaking. I mean, he does obviously tweak things tactically, but a lot of the time you come in, you take your opportunity and you keep your place. I mean, Bree came in on the back of Manning's suspension after not getting a sniff all season, started 5 in a row. Manning came back on Wednesday, played well, and then was one of our best players yesterday. And I think, he offers a lot going forward. He's good on the ball, and he was better defensively yesterday. I still find it frustrating. He doesn't stop enough crosses for my liking, but generally speaking, it was a very good performance from him yesterday. Yeah.
There were plenty of standout players yesterday, Alfie, but I felt the subs as well. When Joe Aribo and Ryan Fraser came on, you were kind of like, me, it was like, oh, okay, here we go. But actually, lots of praise for Joe Aribo, and he could be unlucky with hitting just on the outside of the post.
Yeah, he can be, can't he? I mean, look, Joe Aribo was an interesting one, because Joe Aribo is somebody who pretty much every manager has defended to the hill, and especially especially Russell Martin, because I think he sees him as a great character and somebody who's good in the squad, and they will need him. And so I've actually quite enjoyed seeing a bit of praise for Joe. And I think Ryan Fraser has probably done himself a bit of a disservice in the sense that I can't imagine he'll start many games now, because he just seems to have a much better impact as a sub every single time. And if you've got that weapon, then why would you change that? And I think somebody else who probably deserves a lot of praise for this week, in my opinion, is Shea Charles. And sort of Fraser talks about having an opportunity, coming in and taking it and making it difficult to displace yourself. Will Smallbones had a couple of niggles or whatever it is that's wrong with him at the moment, and Shea steps in. I think that he's shown that he's got a lot of different sides to his game. I think when we first saw him, it was him playing at centre half right at the start of the season. We knew that wouldn't be the case going forward. Russell Martin said it was, but then we saw him as this sort of disruptive anchor role. Now he's playing slightly ahead of Flynn Downs, who's got that ship settled. You don't need to worry about that. He's starting to express himself a little bit more in transition on the ball. And yeah, I think he's somebody who is going to be a big player, right? At the age of 19 years old, he's getting good minutes now. And I don't see him take him out of the team, even if Will Smallbone is fit and ready next Saturday.
Just your thoughts on that midfield, Fraser, because I know Flynn Downs is someone that you've got a lot of respect for and someone that's impressed you as well.
Yeah, to be honest, I mean, I know he started slow when he came in. He was ill. I think he was lost a bit of weight and everything. And since he sort of got into the team and really got fit, I think he's been immense, to be honest. He's shown exactly why Martin was so desperate to sign him. He is so good at controlling the tempo. And he's actually, I have to confess, before he went to West Ham, I hadn't seen a great deal of him. And he's much sort of feistier than I maybe gave him credit for. And he does love a tackle and he loves getting stuck in. I was very worried that he was going to get a second yellow yesterday, I have to admit, because he got one pretty early on. And I thought Martin might take him off with 10, 15 to go. But I think it just shows how important he is to our build-up and to sort of maintaining that control through possession. And but yeah, I mean, like Alfie said, he's got that holding midfield role nailed down now. I mean, unless he's injured, he's playing every minute of every game, I think, or injured or suspended. But I like the midfield. I mean, Stuart Armstrong's obviously doing well as that sort of to the left of Flynn Downs, and then to the right you've got Smallbone and Charles. I think that's good options to have. I think Charles linked up really well with Kyle Walker-Peters yesterday and on Wednesday actually, and I think they got a nice little connection going between the two of them. But yeah, I mean, he's a real talent. I think we've got good options in midfield, and obviously Charlie Alcaraz sort of dropping in and floating around suits him down to the ground as well. He looked a bit tired yesterday, I thought, but he's obviously come back from Argentina with a bit of a niggle and then missed the Huddersfield game, played against Bristol, so put a shift in, and yeah, he looked very tired. I think we had a few tired legs towards the end of the game, or the likes of Stuart Armstrong. Sort of, he doesn't play 3 games in a week, so until this season, so he looked pretty knackered yesterday, but he did well. And I think we've got a really nice balance in that midfield, and it took, due to sort of players being unavailable or just sort of Martin figuring out his best side, that took a while to settle down. But I think midfield is probably the most settled part of our side now, other than obviously Smallbone dropping out and Charles coming in. But 2 or 3 are Stuart Armstrong and Flynn Downs are probably going to start every game, and then it's Charles and Smallbone battling for that other shirt, I think. And Charles has done. At first when he sort of went into that sort of more advanced sort of 8 role, wasn't sure about it, but he's looked a lot sort of more composed. And I think he had a really good international break with Northern Ireland. I mean, he only played 1 of the 2 games, but got a lot of praise off the back of that, playing a more box to box role. And I think he can do that now. And I think he's Smallbone now will have to sort of fight for that shirt back, and it's a good problem to have again.